If you're gonna be jealous every time I go out, just block me, my wife texted from her secret girls' trip. I just smiled and said, have fun. When she got home, she had no idea what was waiting for her. Sup Reddit. So I, 33 male, have been married to Chloe, 30 female, for 4 years. 6 years together, total. That's how long we'd been building what I thought was a life. I worked as an insurance claims adjuster. Decent money, stable hours, nothing flashy. For the legal eagles reading this, the prenup and the deed mattered more than the cheating. The court didn't care about my feelings, it cared about paperwork. Chloe worked at a boutique downtown, selling overpriced candles to women who called essential oils medicine. When we first met, she was working 2 jobs trying to pay off her student loans. I helped her budget, helped her negotiate a better rate on her car payment, co-signed on a credit card when hers was maxed out. I thought I was investing in a partner. Looking back, the warning signs were there. She'd complain about money while ordering $40 face creams online. She'd say we needed to cut back while scheduling spa appointments twice a month. Every time I brought up our budget, she'd get defensive, said I was controlling, said I didn't understand the pressure she was under at work. I let it slide because I thought that's what partners do. You pick your battles. You compromise. You trust. Then there were the late nights. Started about 4 months ago. She'd text saying the store was slammed and she had to close. Happened once a week at first. Then twice. Then every Thursday like clockwork. I offered to bring her dinner once. She said no, it would be weird with customers around. Didn't push it. Should have. Then came the day. I got home from work on a Thursday evening expecting to find my wife making dinner or watching TV. Instead, I found an empty house. No note. No text. Just silence and the lingering scent of her perfume, like she'd rushed out recently. I called her. Straight to voicemail. Texted her. Nothing. For 2 hours, I sat in our living room wondering if something had happened. Car accident. Emergency. Something that would explain why my wife had vanished without a word. Then my phone buzzed. Her text read, in Ninami with Haley and Alyssa. Girls trip. Needed to get away. Stop blowing up my phone. I stared at the screen. Ninami. 1,000 miles away. No discussion. No mention. No asking if I had plans or if this worked for us as a couple. Just gone. I typed back, you didn't think to mention this before you left? Her response came fast. I knew you'd make it weird. You always do. Just chill out and let me have fun for once. For once. Like I'd been holding her hostage for 6 years. Like our marriage was a prison sentence she was finally escaping. I sat with that for a minute. Then I typed, who else is there? The 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times. Finally, just the girls. Why does it matter? It matters because you're my wife, and you flew to Ninami without telling me. Her next message was longer. Here we go. This is exactly why I didn't tell you. You're so controlling. You need to know every detail of my life like you're my parole officer. It's exhausting, Alex. If you're going to be jealous every time I do something fun, maybe you should just block my accounts and let me enjoy. There it was. The ultimatum. Delivered via text message from a beach resort 1,000 miles away. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I walked to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. Drank it slowly. Let the silence settle. Then my phone buzzed again. Different number this time. Haley. The message was long, and it changed everything. Haley. Hey, Alex. I know this is going to come out of nowhere, but Alyssa and I need to tell you something. We're not in Nanami because we wanted to be. Chloe's boss Vincent paid for everything, and she begged us to come as cover so you wouldn't suspect anything. We only agreed because we've been waiting for the right moment to expose her. She's been sleeping with Vincent for months. We have proof, photos, texts, everything. We're done covering for her. She treats us like accessories, uses us whenever she needs something, and disappears when she doesn't. Last month, she told Vincent that Alyssa was unstable and shouldn't be promoted. Alyssa found out from another coworker. She's been sabotaging both of us at work while pretending to be our friend. We're done. We're flying back tomorrow morning. Can we come to your place and show you everything? They weren't doing charity work. Chloe had been using their names as cover, and they wanted out before she buried them. I read it twice. Then I called the number. Haley picked up on the first ring. Her voice was hushed, like she was hiding somewhere to make this call. Everything I said in that text is true, she said. Alyssa and I have been documenting it because we didn't trust her. Chloe has no idea we hate her guts. She thinks we worship her like everyone else. Why now? Because she finally crossed a line we can't ignore. She told Vincent that Alyssa was emotionally unstable and shouldn't be considered for the assistant manager position. Alyssa had been working toward that promotion for 2 years. Chloe wanted it for herself, So she torpedoed her best friend's career with lies. And you? She's been telling people at work that I'm secretly jealous of her marriage, that I make up drama because I'm single and bitter. Meanwhile, she's sleeping with the boss and using me as cover while she does it. Haley's voice hardened. We have screenshots of everything. Texts between her and Vincent going back 4 months. Photos from dinners that weren't work events. Voice messages where she talks about you like you're a joke. Quote, he never does anything. I can do whatever I want. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not rage, not even betrayal anymore. Just clarity. When can you be here? Our flight lands at noon tomorrow. We'll come straight from the airport if that works. It works. I hung up and sat in the quiet house for a long moment. Our wedding photo stared at me from the dresser, through the open bedroom door. Her crying happy tears. My dad saying I picked a good one. That felt like a different lifetime now. The first call the next morning wasn't to a friend, wasn't emotional at all. The first call was to a divorce attorney. I'd handled a liability claim for his firm 2 years ago. Good guy. Thorough. The kind of lawyer who returned calls within the hour and actually explained what was happening instead of billing you to ask questions. He picked up on the third ring. I explained the situation in claims adjuster language. Factual. Documented. No editorializing. He asked me if I have a prenup. Signed before the wedding. My mother insisted. At the time, Chloe had nothing, and I had the house, my grandfather's inheritance, and my retirement accounts. The prenup protects everything I brought into the marriage. Anything acquired during the marriage gets split based on contribution. I've been the primary earner the entire time. She's been spending. My attorney made a sound that might have been satisfaction. That changes things. The prenup and the house being premarital are the real reasons this could stay clean. The cheating just kills her credibility if she tries to fight anything. What about the house? You owned it before the marriage? Yes. Inherited from my grandfather. Paid off. Her name was never added to the deed. Then it's yours. She has no claim. Arizona law respects prenuptial agreements if they were signed voluntarily with full disclosure. Was she represented by her own attorney when she signed? Yes. I paid for her lawyer too. She couldn't afford one. Even better. No coercion argument. No procedural flaws. My attorney said it was likely we'd come out clean, but nothing in court is guaranteed. He gave me the list. I wrote it down. 1. Open a new checking account at a different bank. Move your direct deposit. 2. Remove her as authorized user on all credit cards. 3. Freeze your credit. 4. Change beneficiaries on life insurance. 401k, everything. 5. Pull the last 3 months of statements on joint cards. I want to see the spending pattern. What about her living situation? The house is yours. When we file, I'm going to request temporary orders granting you exclusive possession of the residence. Given the documented infidelity and the fact that you owned the property before the marriage, it's likely we get it. She'll have to find somewhere else to stay while the divorce is pending. How fast can that happen? Then he warned me the court calendar is chaos, and sometimes you get bumped for bigger emergencies. If we file Monday morning, I can try to get us on the emergency calendar by Wednesday. Temporary orders could be in place by the end of the week if we're lucky. Once the judge signs off, she has 72 hours to collect her personal belongings under your supervision. After that, she's legally barred from entering the property. Perfect. He paused. One more thing. You said her friends are coming to give you evidence? Yes. They're on her side trip. Or were. They're flying back tomorrow to expose her. Get everything they have. Screenshots, photos, recordings if legal. Arizona's a one-party consent state for recordings. Anything she said to them, they can share. Document it all. Honestly, I care more about the spending trail and misuse of joint funds than the cheating itself. I will. I hung up and executed the list. For the next 3 hours, I moved like I was processing a high-value claim. Methodical, emotionless, thorough. Opened a new checking account at a different bank. Moved my direct deposit. Removed Chloe as authorized user on my credit cards. Froze my credit. Changed beneficiaries on my life insurance and 401k to my brother. Called HR and changed my emergency contact to my mom. Then I pulled the credit card statements. The joint visa told an interesting story. Expensive salon visits, designer items from stores we'd never shopped at, a spa day that cost more than our monthly grocery budget, cash advances totaling $600 over 2 months, all charged to our account while she complained about money being tight. There was also a charge from a jewelry store I'd never heard of, $340. I checked the date, 2 weeks after our anniversary. She hadn't given me anything that year. Said we should save money instead of exchanging gifts. Guess the gift wasn't for me. I screenshotted everything, saved it to a folder. Then I went to the bank and withdrew exactly 50% of our joint savings, documented the transaction, deposited it into my new account. Not a penny more than my share. By noon, the financial firewall was complete. At 12:47 p.m., my doorbell rang. Haley and Alyssa stood on my porch with roller bags. They looked exhausted, arguing quietly about what to tell me first. "We have everything," Haley said, holding up her phone. "She's done." I stepped aside. "Come in." They spread the evidence across my kitchen table like crime scene photos. The screenshots alone were damning. Texts between Chloe and Vincent going back 4 months. Some stuff was screen recorded because Chloe deletes messages when she's paranoid. Vincent: "Can't stop thinking about last night." Chloe: "Same. When can I see you again?" Vincent: "Tomorrow. Tell him you're working late." Chloe: "Already planned on it. He never checks." There were photos from dinners. Vincent and Chloe at restaurants I'd never heard of. His hand on her lower back, her leaning into him. Intimate poses that made my stomach turn. One photo caught my attention. A selfie of the two of them at what looked like an expensive steakhouse. Chloe was wearing the earrings I'd bought her for our 3rd anniversary. The caption she'd sent to the group chat read, "My 2 favorite things, good food and better company." She'd worn my gift to dinner with another man, used the jewelry I saved 3 months to buy as an accessory for her affair. The audacity was almost impressive. Alyssa showed me the voice messages. Chloe's voice, laughing, casual, describing me like I was furniture. "He's so predictable. I could literally do anything and he'd just sit there. He never does anything. Never questions. Never pushes back. It's like being married to a piece of furniture that pays bills." I listened without expression. "There's more," Haley said. "She's been sabotaging us at work for months." Alyssa was supposed to get the assistant manager promotion. Chloe told Vincent that Alyssa had emotional instability issues and couldn't handle the pressure. Alyssa's jaw tightened. "I worked 2 years for that promotion. She killed it with one conversation." "And me," Haley continued. "She's been telling people I'm bitter and jealous because I'm single. Meanwhile, she invites me on trips as cover while she sleeps with the boss. Why didn't you say anything sooner?" "Because we didn't have proof until recently," Alyssa said. "And we weren't sure you'd believe us." Chloe's good at playing the victim. She'd just turn it around and say we were jealous or crazy. Haley nodded. "But when she torpedoed Alyssa's promotion, we decided to get everything documented before we made a move. This trip was the perfect opportunity. We played along, smiled for photos, and collected evidence the whole time." Haley scrolled through her phone. "And then there's this one. From 3 weeks ago. She texted us asking if we'd cover for her if you ever asked about Ninami. Said she'd been planning this trip for months but couldn't tell you because you'd freak out. She called it her freedom vacation. Said she deserved to feel alive again." "Feel alive again," I repeated. Her words. Not ours. Alyssa pulled up another screenshot. "This one's my personal favorite. 2 weeks ago, she texted Vincent asking if he'd leave his wife for her. He said maybe someday. She responded with a heart emoji and said she'd wait forever." Haley snorted. "Forever lasted about 3 weeks. I looked at the spread of screenshots and photos on the table. This is more than enough." Alyssa leaned forward. "So what's the plan?" "I already filed for divorce. Papers are being drawn up. She'll be served at work. And thanks to the prenup we signed, she gets nothing. The house is mine. My accounts are mine. She walks away with whatever she brought into this marriage, which was nothing but debt and designer taste." Haley and Alyssa exchanged a look of pure satisfaction. "We want to be here when she finds out," Alyssa said. "We've been waiting for this moment for months." I nodded. "She doesn't know you're back yet?" "No. We told her we had food poisoning and we're staying in the hotel room. She was too busy with Vincent to check on us." "Good. Stay here. When she figures out something's wrong, she'll come running. And you'll be here." We settled into the living room. I ordered pizza. We watched a game. Waited. My phone buzzed periodically with texts from Chloe. Chloe: "The weather here is amazing. You should see this sunset." Then, Chloe: "Still doing the silent treatment? Real mature, Alex." Then, Chloe: "You know what? Your attitude is exactly why I needed this trip. You're so negative all the time." I showed them each message. They laughed. Dark, satisfied laughs. Around 6 p.m., Chloe's text changed. Chloe: "Hello?" Chloe: "Why aren't you answering?" Chloe: "I just talked to Alyssa's mom. She said Alyssa flew home this morning. What's going on?" Chloe: "Alex, answer me." Chloe: "Why is Alyssa's phone going straight to voicemail?" Chloe: "What is happening?" Haley looked at her phone. "She called me 6 times. I let them all go to voicemail." 20 minutes later. Chloe: "I'm coming home. Something is wrong. I can feel it. Let her come." Her flight landed at 11:42 p.m. I know because I was tracking it. At 12:34 a.m., headlights swept across the front window. A car door slammed. Footsteps rushed up the walkway. The front door flew open. Chloe stood there, wild-eyed, still in the sundress she'd worn on the plane. Her hair was a mess. Her makeup was smeared. She looked like she'd sprinted through the airport. Then she saw them. Haley and Alyssa sat on the couch. My couch. Looking at her with expressions of pure contempt. What the heck is this? Chloe's voice cracked. What are you doing here? Alyssa smiled. We came to comfort Alex, after what you did. Chloe's face cycled through confusion, fear, and rage in about 3 seconds. What did you tell him? She pointed at Haley. What lies did you make up? Haley stood slowly. No lies, Chloe. Just the truth. Chloe went pale. You showed him everything, I said from the armchair. The text with Vincent going back 4 months. The photos from dinners I never knew about. The voice messages where you laughed about how I never do anything. Chloe spun toward me, tears already forming. Alex, baby, please. You don't understand. They're twisting everything. They've always been jealous of us. Of what we have. Alyssa laughed. Jealous? You torpedoed my promotion because you wanted it for yourself. You told Vincent I was emotionally unstable. I never said that. We have the email where Vincent mentioned it, Haley said. Direct quote from you. Chloe was cornered and she knew it. The tears turned to rage. You backstabbing witches! She lunged at Haley. I didn't want this turning into a police report, but they collided in the middle of the living room before I could stop it. Chloe grabbed Haley's hair. Alyssa jumped in, trying to pull them apart. The 3 of them crashed into the coffee table, sending magazines and a lamp flying. I watched for about 2 seconds. Then I walked over, grabbed Chloe by the shoulders, and physically separated her from the other 2. Enough. My voice cut through the chaos. All 3 women froze. I told them to cut it out. Cameras exist and I wasn't getting dragged into a domestic call. I looked at Chloe. Her mascara ran down her cheeks. Her sundress was torn at the shoulder. She was breathing hard, chest heaving, looking at me like I was supposed to save her. We're done, I said. I filed for divorce. You'll be served at work on Monday. Her face crumpled. Alex, please, I made a mistake. 1 mistake. 4 months isn't a mistake, it's a decision. And you made it over and over again while lying to my face. I can change. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. No, we can't. Because there's nothing to fix. The prenup is clear. You get what you brought into this marriage, which is nothing. Her eyes went wide. The prenup? Signed before the wedding. Your attorney reviewed it. You agreed to the terms. You can't do this. I already did. My attorney is requesting temporary orders this week. If the court grants me exclusive possession of the house, you'll need to find somewhere else to stay. Your house? I live here. This is my home. Your name is not on the deed? Never was. You're a guest who overstayed her welcome. Chloe stood there, shaking. Her world was collapsing, and she had no one to blame but herself. I turned to Haley and Alyssa. I appreciate everything you did. Alyssa nodded. They gathered their bags and walked out without another glance at Chloe. The front door closed behind them with a soft click. Chloe stared at me in the sudden silence. You're replacing me with them? I'm not replacing you with anyone. I'm removing you from my life. There's a difference. She sank onto the couch, sobbing. I turned off the light and walked to the bedroom. Behind me, I could hear her crying in the dark. I slept better than I had in months. The next few days were strange and quiet. I worked remotely from my home office. Told my boss I was dealing with a family situation. She'd seen enough claims involving domestic issues to know what that meant. Didn't ask questions. Just said, take what you need and keep me posted. Chloe stayed in the guest room. We moved around each other like strangers sharing a subway car. No conversation. No eye contact. Just 2 people occupying the same space while waiting for the paperwork to catch up with reality. She tried twice. Once she knocked on my office door and asked if we could talk. I said there was nothing to discuss. The second time she left a handwritten letter on the kitchen counter. 4 pages of apologies and promises. I didn't read past the first paragraph. Threw it in the trash while she watched from the hallway. I kept documenting everything. Every time she posted something on Instagram, I screenshotted it. Her stories from Ninami were still up. Vincent visible in the backgrounds. Location tags. Timestamps. All of it backed up and organized. My attorney had the papers ready Monday morning. The serving was surgical. Process server walked into the boutique at 10:15 a.m. Chloe was behind the register. Vincent was in the back office. The whole thing took 30 seconds. Her texts started immediately. Chloe. What the heck is this? Chloe. A man just showed up at my work. Chloe. In front of everyone. Chloe. In front of Vincent. Chloe. Are you seriously divorcing me? I typed one response. Me. Your attorney can contact mine. The temporary orders hearing happened that Wednesday. My attorney presented the evidence, the screenshots, the photos, the voice messages where she called me furniture, the prenup with both signatures notarized. The judge wasn't interested in a long performance from either side. Temporary orders granted. Exclusive possession of the residence to me. It wasn't revenge. It was a temporary order, so we weren't living on top of each other. Chloe had 72 hours to collect her personal belongings under my supervision. After that, she was legally barred from entering the property. My attorney called me after we left the courthouse. That went about as well as we could have hoped, he said. The judge looked at the evidence and kept things moving. Opposing counsel tried to argue that Chloe had nowhere to go. The judge said that wasn't the court's concern. She made her choices. Welcome to consequences. The next weeks were a blur of legal paperwork and documentation. My attorney walked me through every step. The prenup was ironclad. My attorney had drafted it. Her attorney had reviewed it. Both signatures notarized. Full financial disclosure on both sides at the time of signing. Chloe's attorney tried every angle. He argued she'd contributed to the household. He pulled out 4 years of credit card statements showing she'd contributed almost nothing while spending freely on personal items. He argued the prenup was coerced. Produced the signed acknowledgement from her own attorney confirming she'd been independently advised and signed voluntarily. He floated spousal support and said spousal support was a long shot given the prenup, the short marriage, and her ability to work. Her attorney withdrew the spousal maintenance claim within a week. The house was never even a question. I owned it before the marriage. Her name was never on the deed. She had zero claim. When her attorney tried to argue she'd made improvements to the property, he asked him to itemize them. The silence that followed was satisfying. Meanwhile, Chloe's life was imploding on all other fronts. Vincent distanced himself completely after the serving. Apparently, having your married employee served with divorce papers in your store while you're standing there isn't great for business. He transferred her to a different location across town, reduced her hours, stopped responding to her texts. Funny how the magic disappears when someone becomes a liability instead of a secret. I heard through the grapevine that HR had opened an investigation. Someone had anonymously forwarded the screenshots of Vincent and Chloe's texts to corporate. The company had a strict policy about manager-subordinate relationships. Vincent was facing a review from the district manager. His wife had filed for divorce too. Turns out Chloe wasn't even his first workplace affair. Just the first one that got documented this thoroughly. The district manager flew into Phoenix to conduct formal interviews. 3 other employees came forward with complaints about Vincent's behavior. Inappropriate comments. Favoritism toward attractive female staff. One woman said he'd promised her a promotion in exchange for drinks after work. She'd declined and been stuck on register duty for 6 months. The investigation expanded. By the end of the month, Vincent was terminated for cause. No severance, no reference. Just a box of desk supplies and a long walk to his car. Chloe got demoted to part-time after Vincent's termination. The new district manager didn't want anyone associated with the scandal in a visible role. Her hours dropped from 40 to 15. The new schedule had her working Sunday mornings and Wednesday evenings. The worst shifts. The ones nobody wanted. She went from making decent money to barely covering gas. Her friends had already abandoned her. Haley and Alyssa were actively hostile. Other mutual friends had seen the screenshots circulating. Nobody wanted to be associated with the woman who'd been caught cheating and lying. People she'd known for years suddenly couldn't return her calls. Her sister Nina reached out once, trying to play peacemaker. Said Chloe was struggling. Said she couldn't afford rent. Said she was sleeping on the couch. I sent her the same screenshots I'd sent everyone else. She went quiet after that. The family narrative Chloe had been spinning wasn't holding up to evidence. Social isolation happens fast when you build your whole life on lies. 3 weeks after serving, her attorney called mine to discuss settlement. She wants to negotiate, he told me. What's left to negotiate? The prenup covers everything. She wants transitional support, help with first and last month's rent on an apartment, moving expenses. No, she has nowhere to go. That's not my problem. She had a job, a home, and a husband. She threw it all away for her boss. Now she can figure it out like every other adult. My attorney relayed the message. Her attorney didn't push back. The settlement was finalized 4 weeks after serving. Chloe signed away any claim to the house, my retirement accounts, and future earnings. She kept her car, her clothes, and whatever was in her own bank account, which wasn't much. He called me after the final signatures were in place. This is one of the cleanest divorces I've ever handled, he said. That prenup was bulletproof. Your mother's a smart woman. I should send her flowers. Do it. She earned it. The 72-hour window for Chloe to retrieve her belongings had come and gone weeks ago. She'd shown up with her sister and 2 boxes during the first week after the temporary orders were granted. I stood in the doorway and watched while they packed her clothes, her toiletries, and a few photo albums. She tried to take the TV. I said no. She tried to take the kitchen appliances. I said no. She tried to take the decorative pillows she'd bought. I let her have those. Small mercies. Her sister Nina kept shooting me dirty looks the whole time. Like I was the villain. Like I'd done something wrong by protecting myself from a woman who'd spent 4 months sleeping with her boss while calling me furniture. At one point, Nina muttered something about karma. I told her karma already happened. That's why her sister was packing boxes. Chloe tried one last play before she left. Stood in the doorway with tears streaming down her face. Said she still loved me. Said we could start over fresh somewhere new. Said she'd quit her job, cut off Vincent, do whatever it took. I asked her one question. When did you stop loving me enough to cheat? She couldn't answer. That told me everything. The whole time she kept glancing at me, waiting for me to crack, waiting for me to say something that would give her an opening. I didn't give her one. When she was done, I handed her the key and closed the door. The morning the divorce was finalized, I woke up early, made coffee, watched the sunrise through the kitchen window. At 8 a.m., my doorbell rang. Haley and Alyssa stood on the porch. Alyssa was holding a cake box. We brought a housewarming gift, Haley said. Housewarming is for when you move into a new place. Alyssa grinned. It's for when the trash moves out of an old place, too. I stepped aside. Come in. We set up in the living room. Alyssa placed the cake box on the coffee table. I could see through the clear lid, white frosting with red letters spelling out, "Good riddance." The doorbell rang again. I opened it. Chloe stood on the porch with a cardboard box. The court said I could pick up the rest of my things today, she said. Her voice was flat, defeated. I left some items in the garage last time. Just here for those. Then she saw them. Haley and Alyssa sat on the couch. My couch. In my house. Looking at her with expressions of pure contempt. What are they doing here? I told you I'd invite them back when this was finished. It's finished. The divorce is final. Chloe's eyes flicked to the cake box. She read the letters. Her face contorted. This is sick. You're all sick. Alyssa stood. You sabotaged my promotion. Told my boss I was emotionally unstable. You used me as cover while you cheated on your husband. And now you're calling us sick? Haley joined her. You told everyone at work I was bitter and jealous. Spread rumors about my personal life, all while pretending to be our friend. Chloe dropped her box. Her hands were shaking. I made mistakes, but this... She gestured around the room. This is cruel. You're enjoying this. Yeah, Alyssa said. We are. She walked to the coffee table, opened the cake box, and lifted the cake with both hands. Chloe saw it coming, but couldn't react fast enough. Alyssa stepped forward and pushed the cake directly into Chloe's face. White frosting and red letters splattered across her features. Chunks of cake fell onto her blouse, into her hair, onto the floor. I told Alyssa that was enough. Funny for 2 seconds, expensive if Chloe decided to press it. The room got quiet after that. Real life has a way of ruining a good moment. Chloe sputtered, wiping frosting from her eyes. When she could see again, there were tears streaming down her cheeks, cutting tracks through the white mess. Alex, she whispered, please, don't let them do this to me. Don't let them take my place. I know I messed up, but I can change. I can be better. Please don't throw away 6 years. Please. I stood and walked toward her. For a second, I think she believed I was going to comfort her. That some part of me still cared. That the man she'd called predictable furniture was going to fold one more time. I picked up her cardboard box and walked it to the front door. Time to go, Chloe. Her face crumbled completely. Alex, the divorce is final. You got your things. There's nothing left for you here. She walked past me, frosting dripping onto the porch, grabbing the box from my hands. She didn't look back. I closed the door. Haley and Alyssa were still standing in the living room, looking at me with something like expectation. So, Haley said, what now? I looked at them. Really looked. They'd helped me. They'd given me the evidence I needed. They'd been there when Chloe came home. They'd stuck around for the finale. But I wasn't an idiot. Women who spend months pretending to be friends with someone they hate, who play along with a trip to Nanami just to gather ammunition, who wait for the perfect moment to strike. Those aren't good people. Those are snakes who picked a target. Today the target was Chloe. Tomorrow it could be anyone. I grabbed my wallet from the counter. There's a pizza place around the corner, I said. I'll order something. You can eat. Then you should probably head out. The expectation on their faces flickered into confusion. Head out? Alyssa tilted her head. We thought maybe you thought wrong, I said. Neither of you is my type. The silence stretched. Haley recovered first. She laughed, but it was hollow. Fair enough. We just figured. You figured since you helped take down one woman, you'd step into her spot? I shook my head. I'm not a prize to be won. And I'm definitely not interested in women who spent 4 months pretending to be friends with someone just so they could destroy her. We were on your side, Alyssa protested. You were on your own side. You just happened to hate the same person I was divorcing. That's not loyalty. That's convenience. I pulled out my phone and opened the pizza app. So here's how this works. I'm ordering food because you helped me, and that deserves acknowledgement. You eat. We make small talk. And then you leave. We're not friends. We're not going to date. We're people who shared a common enemy for about 5 weeks. That's it. They looked at each other. Haley shrugged first. Fine. I could eat. They stayed for about an hour. The pizza was decent. The conversation was surface level. When they finished, they grabbed their bags and walked to the door. Alyssa paused on the porch. You know, you're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone easier to read. I smiled. That was the old me. He never did anything, remember? She didn't have a response to that. They walked to their car. I watched them drive away. Then I closed the door, sat down on my couch in my house with my life finally my own, and turned on the game. The quiet was different now. Not lonely, just peaceful. I ordered myself a good dinner that night. Steak, medium rare. The expensive cut I never bought because Chloe always wanted to save money for salon visits and designer bags. Ate it slowly, savoring every bite. The next morning, I woke up at 6 a.m., went for a 7-mile run, hit the gym after, lifted heavier than I had in months. Something about the freedom made me stronger. Showered in my own bathroom without checking if someone else needed it first. Made breakfast without negotiating what we were going to eat. Eggs, bacon, toast with real butter, all the things she said were bad for me. Simple freedoms. Turns out they add up. I spent the next few weeks reclaiming my space. Painted the bedroom a different color. Dark blue instead of the pale gray she'd insisted on. Bought new sheets, new pillows. Set up my grandfather's bronze sculpture on the windowsill where it caught the afternoon light. Took up fishing again. Something I'd let slip during the marriage because there was always something else that needed doing. Chloe hated fishing. Said it was boring. Said it smelled. Said she didn't understand why anyone would sit in a boat for hours doing nothing. I'd stopped going because it wasn't worth the argument. Another piece of myself I'd given up to keep the peace. Drove out to a lake an hour outside the city. Rented a boat. Sat on still water while the sun came up. Caught a bass. Fought it for 10 minutes. Released it. Caught 2 more before noon. Let them all go. It was never about keeping the fish. It was about the quiet. The patience. The satisfaction of doing something just because I wanted to. No phone buzzing, no obligations, no one asking where I was or when I'd be back. Just the water and the silence and the simple pleasure of being myself again. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.